Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Friday, the 13th of November, comes to you from the Canary Islands, where I've escaped for some winter sun. And it's Friday the 13th, of course, which is never a great day on markets. Well, it can be, but markets can be fearful on the Friday the 13th. So we're seeing the dollar is fairly flat today. The euro against the dollar also flat. Remembering this is my weekly, my daily, and my 60-minute charts for a long-term, medium-term, and short-term view with the corresponding point and figure targets. Looking at sterling, we're sitting at 131.71, so we're back below the cloud, having reached 133 against the dollar this week. But interestingly, we're now just back to bearish short term. And if we look at the euro, sterling also just coming back there, having been higher a few days ago. Taking a look at Bitcoin now, sitting above the $16,000 level. So Bitcoin is really reaching for the sky now, and we're seeing it pushing higher to these much higher targets. So looking good there as well. The S&P 500 index is down 1% yesterday. So that is interesting, just seeing that we're struggling to hold this breakout on that weekly candle. And we are just back below the level that we saw in September, but we did make a new high, but we're just not managing to hold on to it. So we need to see that broken and for the market to run. Of course, the Nasdaq is also holding things up. It hasn't made a new high, and so we are still below the resistance level there. And whilst that happens, we've still got targets hanging over us. The Dow was down 1% yesterday, and the futures today are up 0.8% on the S&P and 0.8% on the Nasdaq. So it does look like we'll open and go higher today. The VIX volatility, the fear index is down to 24. And if we look at the DAX, we are sitting up 0.5% this morning. So Germany looking quite strong, and France looking even stronger, having really bounced two very strong weeks showing up there on the weekly candles. Japan was down 1.4%, but it is still looking much better on the long-term chart. The Hang Seng was down slightly, and China was down nearly 1%, but holding on. It's very much in a range, the Chinese market, and that's something we do until we break either below or above. We can't really stay on Chinese stock. Looking at the Sensex in India, that is a pretty good picture, breaking new all-time highs and then holding those levels, so that's pretty good. And the Aussie market was down 0.2% overnight. Gold is up today, and it just has held this low. If we did go lower, we would have activated a downside target, some 12% lower on this target, 11% lower on the short-term chart. So we're still looking bearish on the short term, and the medium term deteriorating, but the long-term picture is still very bullish for gold. Silver is a similar picture, of course, and if we look at the 10-year yield, we're back to 0.89%, having nudged the 1% level, so that's quite interesting as well. Looking at the energy mix, we've got Brent crude down nearly 1% today, just couldn't get above that 45.30 level. And if we look at WTI, we're down 1.3%, so we're seeing a fall there as well. Taking a look at nat gas, we're just nudging the $3 mark. We found some resistance at 306. That's the level we need to break above. Looking at the European energy mix, coal is down 0.5%. It had a strong day yesterday, though. The rest is up, so we're seeing emissions up 1%. They're looking better. Found support around 25.50. Looking at UK gas, we're up 1.8%. Dutch gas is up 1.6%, and if we look at German power, we're at 0.75%, but we just can't get back above that 40 euro mark at the moment. Looking at Nordic power, we're up 4% on the CAL and 7.8% on the quarterly contract, but it's a long way to go, having fallen so heavily. That's it for today. Until Monday, have a great weekend. Happy charting. See you then.